As women, we crave connection, and nothing builds a bond like a good, deep conversation. Well, all this week, we are putting well-known women in the hot seat for a chance to get to know them better and ultimately love them more. Studio 5 viewers have come up with some really clever questions, all meant to do that, to dig a little deeper. And every day we take 5 and ask our special guest to answer those 5 questions on the spot. Today we put the spotlight on someone who is working hard every day to make our state a better place. Deidre M. Henderson served in the Utah State Senate for 8 years before becoming our lieutenant governor. She's been heralded as a vocal champion of the underdog. I love that about her, pushing for opportunities for the underserved populations in our state. She and her husband Gabe live in Spanish Fork, and when she's not taking charge on Capitol Hill, she's running Ship at Home, mom to 5 kids, 3 sons-in-law, and 2 grandsons. We are so grateful for her service to our state and grateful for her willingness to take 5. Welcome to Studio 5.
Thanks, Brooke.
Not a first time here, but a first time in this new title. It feels good to have you. Thanks for making the time.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I asked if you've caught up on sleep since the session, and you said almost.
Well, it's getting better.
Yeah.
I'm still pretty busy, so
yeah.
We're reviewing bills, looking at with the governor. We're in the middle of Supreme Court nominee interviews, so we've still got a full schedule.
It's a busy time. What has surprised you most about this role, Deidre, as you've settled in a little more?
I think what surprised me the most is just the sheer volume of things that we have to deal with and the weight of it.
Yeah.
The schedule. I'm not used to it yet, but it is exciting, and it is an incredible honor to be in this space.
I mentioned you're really a voice for the voiceless, and that's been one of your passion points through your campaign and now through this role. What have you learned about the people of Utah that maybe you knew before, but now you've had a front row seat and you appreciate it all the more?
Well, you know, as state senator, I represented a relatively small geographic area of South Utah County. Mm-hmm. Those were the people that elected me that I needed to represent. As lieutenant governor, I represent all 3.3 million of the people of the state of Utah, and I've always said you can't govern from Capitol Hill. You have to get out and see the people, see the areas, understand the issues. So I've done a lot of traveling around the state.
You've been on the ground.
Absolutely,
yes.
Absolutely, and I've loved it. I've been to every single corner of the state and visited with the people. I've really enjoyed getting to know the 8 Native American tribes that we have here in the state of Utah. As lieutenant governor, one of my responsibilities is to be that tribal liaison and understand some of those issues. And it's interesting to see how much disparity and need there is on the, around the peripheries of the state. There's a lot of places where we can do better and do good things. And so those are some of the things that I'm focusing on now.
One thing I marvel at and am somewhat curious about is how you do slide in and out of very important roles. There's many of them. Lieutenant governor, which we've touched on, mom, grandma. Those are all very important, worthy roles. Is it easy for you, or how do you, I should say, put on one hat and then take it off to put on another?
Well, there's an interesting picture that on the front cover of the Saturday Evening Post.
Okay.
A long time ago,
yeah.
That Norman Rockwell painted, and it's Rosie the Riveter, or Rosie to the Rescue is what it's called, and she's got all these hats on her head,
yeah.
and all these tools in her arms. It's a great picture if anyone wants to look it up. But I don't know that I ever take hats off. So I'm always wearing the hats. They're kind of stacked up. I'm always a mom, I'm always a grandma, I'm always a wife, and I'm always lieutenant governor. It doesn't ever turn off. And learning how to function like that has been a challenge. I definitely have not perfected it.
Is there anything you do, though, to get into the right zone? Like if you're leaving an important meeting and you're going to cuddle a grandbaby, is there any mantra or anything that you do physically or mentally to help you slide into that place?
I value my time in the car because it's a time where I can maybe shut down for a few minutes.
Yeah.
I can catch up on a few things if I need to, but I really like a little bit of downtime. I don't get a lot of downtime during the day. So I value that, and that does help me focus on the next thing at hand.
It's a good decompression zone. I
Yes.
often say my best prayers in the car. I'm
Yes.
just saying, it's every mom's therapy, right? All right, this is our jar. We've explained to you that viewers and guests of the show over the last month have been putting in questions, and the prompt here was, what's a question that would help you get to know someone you know a little bit better? So the pendulum's gonna swing. You're ready for it.
I'm ready.
Yeah, you've answered the questions of the people. Now can you handle the questions of the viewers? Take your first one. I'll tee you up here. What is something you did in your family growing up that you know you don't want to do in your own family? That's tricky.
That is tricky.
Kind of a backward, inside
hopefully
out.
my parents aren't watching.
Mom and Dad, plug your ears.
I think one of the things that we never did as a family when I was growing up, we didn't talk about politics. We didn't talk about necessarily about a lot of things that were happening around the world and in the country at the moment. And so we've really tried to do that with our kids. We've tried to talk about politics, to talk about civic engagement, and that's something that I've really I've made sure that that my kids are well versed in, that they're comfortable talking about. I don't think any one of them want to go into politics. That is okay. But we've really tried to have those open conversations with our kids.
It's a tough balance, isn't it? I think parents and moms in particular are wrestling with that right now, right? You turn on the news and what's happening, we want to shelter and protect our children from, but there is that balance of also educating them and arming them with the information that will help them become better stewards and servants of communities.
And there's so much to current events. Nothing current has happened just spontaneously in that moment. There's a history to it. There's a build up to it, and it's important to help our kids understand that context. And it takes a long time.
Oh, my Google search right now is running the range, right? Because you do want to know the background and the history of what's happening. That was actually a great question. It turned out to be a great question. All right, let's take two.
All right.
Your guess number.
There's two in there.
Shake it. Choose one. Your guess number 4 in the series, so it's depleted slightly. What do you wish you had more time to do?
Oh, I wish I had more time to read.
Here.
I wish I had more time to hold my grandbabies. I've got 2 new grandbabies, and they're growing so fast, and they're so sweet, and I wish I had more time to hold them.
What do they call you?
Well, they're 4 months old and 7 weeks old, so they don't call me anything yet.
So you get to choose.
I don't know how that works.
What would you
I've never been a grandma
What would you
before.
like? Marie Osmond requested grandma.
Oh, that's.
I mean, there's options.
Okay.
You know, I met someone this summer who I always like to ask women this because I think it reveals a lot about their personality. I said, "What do your grandkids call you?" And she said, "Peach." And I thought I hadn't heard that one. So I'm just throwing out some options: Nana, Grandma, Glamma, Peach. You got choices.
So I think no one has ever accused me of being exciting or cool. I'm kind of boring. I think Grandma's okay with me.
Fits. Okay. Yeah. All right. Take 3. Here we go. Those grandbabies sure are cute too. We saw some snuggly pictures. What have been your most important life events?
Oh wow.
Let's name 3. I'll limit you to 3.
I think, of course, marriage and births of my children.
Sure.
Does that count as 1 or does that count as 6?
We'll lump it into 2.
I have 5
we'll lump
kids.
it into 2.
Okay.
Mom and wife are up there for sure.
So, and then, of course, I think deciding to make phone calls for a congressional candidate in 2008, that was probably the most significant decision after choosing my husband.
That was the Chaffetz campaign.
It was the Chaffetz campaign.
You were working the phones, and that was your first entry into the political arena.
I had never done politics before, and I started volunteering, had no idea what that year would entail. I worked the entire year for free.
From your laundry room, I remember.
I ran his campaign from my laundry room. I'm glad I never knew what that year would entail, because I don't think I would have done it if I would have known in advance, and I'm really glad I did it.
Yeah.
But that opened a door for me that led me here, where I am today, and I had no idea, no concept at the time of what that would be. But I almost didn't do that because it scared the heck out of me. I didn't want to talk to strangers on the phone and get yelled at or hung up on.
But look at the progression. I think that's really admirable, and I think it speaks volumes to women out there that steps lead to big things. So we're glad you did too. All right, take 4. We got a quick minute ahead of us. We'll try to punch through a couple more. You're doing great. You're doing great. All right. Written in Sharpie. I like this style. When was the last time you felt really loved? Oh,
I feel really loved every day. You know what? My husband is so good at making sure I feel loved, and he never fails.
What's your love language?
Service.
Really?
And my husband now understands. It took us a while. We've been married for 28 years. It took us a while to figure out each other's love languages.
It always does,
But he gets it now, and he knows how to help make me feel loved.
My sister and I had this conversation just last night, and we were laughing that she was saying how her top love language is her husband's least, and vice versa. It's funny how that works sometimes.
That's the same thing with us.
Yeah.
But as long as we understand each other.
All right, last one. Let's see. Whoops, sorry. Fluttering to the floor in dramatic fashion. If you have an hour of free time, just an hour, 60 short minutes, a lot of these funny centering around time, what do you do in that 60-minute window?
Well, I will either read or I will listen to a podcast while I do other things.
Smart. Filling your brain and your heart, and you've done that for us today. Deidre Henderson, thank you so much.
Brooke.
Don't be a stranger. Come back again sometime soon. We appreciate the work and value the work that you're doing for our state.
Thank you very much.